series on negative thinking traps.
Why is that? Does anybody ever think negatively?
Oh, wow. We
You don't know
are
anybody who's
Oh,
negative, do
do you
you?
know? I don't know anybody either. No. That's a part of the human condition. We are wired to have some of these negative thinking traps. So
Yeah,
we have
we
to be
are.
purposeful to not.
Because in our environment, not just because we're in COVID-19 still, but because just in general, people tend to look on the dark or the black side or the negative side of things, don't you think?
Absolutely.
It's never
We're
going to work. I'm never going to be successful.
right. We're wired to see what's wrong
Right.
instead of what's right.
That's right. And so, why are we wired that way? Is
No,
it?
it's just part of the human condition. We can, give somebody positive news and negative news. They'll remember the negative news. It's just like how we are literally like our brain wants to hone in on the negative stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. And a lot of times, and we talked about this last week, people will catastrophize something, make it awfulize it.
They will
Awfulize
catastrophize.
it, make it worse than it was. Oh, she said, blah, blah, blah.
Yes, I literally had a conversation about catastrophizing at least 10 times this week. So
10
at
times.
least 10 times this
So,
week.
in review, for maybe any of our listeners that have not heard part one and part two, tonight is part three of negative thinking traps right here on Go Yard. And by the way, let's talk about what catastrophizing is. But before you do that, what is this show all about? If we have any new listeners tonight, Facebook's up. You can join us on Facebook on your page and mine.
Yes. So, what is the show about? The show is called Go Yard. It's about hitting the home runs in life. We are a life coaching / counseling radio show.
And we are in our 7th year.
We are.
And that is cool. And so, with all that said, we do this because you being a full-time counselor now, PhD, licensed mental health counselor, private practice, doing extremely well after not quite 2 years in the process.
I know. In fact, we were just sitting down, my other counselor and I, we're getting ready to start planning our 2-year party at the office.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, I can't wait. Yeah. That's fantastic for May, right around the 1st of May, isn't it?
Yes.
So that'll be fun, and we can invite some of our radio listeners if they want to stop by the office.
Absolutely. There'll be a big open house. We'll have demonstrations on virtual reality and all kinds of cool stuff.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So right around May 1st. Okay, so that's exciting. You have taken on another counselor now, and so your offices are in the front of our church building, and they're on Weaver Park Drive, 2058. Weaver Park Drive is where she's located in Clearwater. We recommend that you go to your website, right? drangelsdevelopment.com.
Yes.
And what will they find there?
Oh, they'll find a lot of information. We're in the process of updating it, but they can also book and schedule appointments right through the website.
Right. So that's good. So anyway, that's something that has developed and when we first started the show, you were not in private practice.
No, we were not. I was not in private practice.
You were working for a corporation.
In community mental health. And so a lot has changed over the course of these 7 years.
Yes, it certainly has. And so, but we're excited. Every week we love doing this show. And so we would normally encourage you to call in. We cannot do that tonight. We were hit by lightning a week and a half ago, and we're still having phone trouble. So we can't do that, but you can go to Facebook on Dr. Angel's page or mine, and you can write us a note and with questions or comments, and we'll be happy to respond right there because it's right here in front of us. Okay, so we are in negative thinking traps. Let's talk about catastrophizing, and you have heard it 10 times this week. You want to give us an example, or how does that work when you're listening to that in counseling?
Sure.
Without divulging names, of course.
Of course.
Nor social security numbers.
Yes, we protect the innocent.
Protect the innocent.
No, catastrophizing is where we look for the worst case scenario in something. And so, maybe your boss called you into your office and now you're just thinking they're going to fire you and you're going to lose your job and be homeless or whatever. Something small triggers, and then we have it rabbit into this huge snowball or avalanche kind of for some people. And so then we have all this anxiety about what's happening because we have this huge worst case scenario all mapped out in our head.
And that's a typical human condition, is it not?
It really is. It really is.
But is it hard to break that habit, Dr. Angel? I mean, I know you work at this every day with some patients, but is it hard to get people to see, number one, that they're doing that, and number two, that they can come out of that catastrophizing thing?
It is definitely has its challenges. I think the biggest challenge is to help people see and recognize where they are in these negative thinking traps. And then we have to change a whole mindset.
Right.
We have to be purposeful. So helping them rewrite those tapes and get rid of these, it takes some time.
And so, and for the average person out there, we all have some of this in us, don't we? Right?
Sure.
So this is not just, don't be thinking this is somebody who's got some diagnosable mental illness. It's not like that. This is a human characteristic.
Oh, sure.
People tend to go to the negative.
And the more it happens, in small doses, like our brains, it doesn't cause us a lot of stress, anxiety, or even depression. But when it becomes how we're seeing the world around us, then it definitely leads to a lot of additional stress, anxiety, and even depression.
Right. So how come you had to bring up catastrophizing so much this week?
A lot of people are kind of in that catastrophizing mode, especially with things over COVID.
Right. Still.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, because just the general public is just beginning to get vaccinated.
They're so exhausted. People are so exhausted.
So tired of it. Right. Yeah.
They really are. And so now they're like, things are never going to get better. We're going to have to do this forever. And I just can't do this. And I guess there was a CDC mandate talking about wearing double masks. And some people are like, I can't even breathe like this. And like, there's a lot of people who have real concerns about catching COVID. And so they want to do everything they can, but it's
overwhelming to a lot of people. And the staying home factor gets to people after a while, doesn't it?
Oh, sure. I mean, I have people now who have been almost a year working from home, living at home, having their kids at home. Like, that's a lot of isolation.
There's some cute ads out now about people on their laptop working and their kids doing horrendous. I'm trying to say three words at the same time. Horrendous things in the background, like dumping flour all over the floor and, shooting, painting their faces with magic markers.
I'm going to say that's hashtag for real, because I do some telehealth sessions, which are video sessions. And I've had some incidences a week where you see the kids in the background kind of getting into the snacks or walking out with the peanut butter jar. Yes.
Right.
I'm like, your child's got something you might want to check.
Well, my daughter-in-law in Texas told me last night the baby Reese, who's 13 months old. Okay. So he's been walking like 3 or 4 months already, though. He got into the pantry last night and the snack thing was low enough that he pulled it off and drug it out into the family room, this snack bin, and he's 13 months old.
Oh my goodness.
And pulled it out there. So, I mean, kids will behind the scenes, they're going to do about anything they can, right?
Oh, sure. When parents are, on these conferences or trying to work on their computer, they know they're distracted and they look for that opportunity.
They look for that, yeah. So, okay, tonight we're going to talk about the last 3 of these negative thinking traps, and the first one is mind reading.
Yes.
Now, we know we don't read minds, right? Do people know that? Isn't that a given?
Okay, so this is not mind reading like I can tell you exactly what you're sitting here thinking right now.
Right.
This is mind reading in the act of, it's kind of more of a passive action. It's about expecting others to know what we need, what we want, what we're feeling in the moment. Because if you loved me, if you cared for me, you should just know I want, need, or am feeling this way.
Yeah. So, and it's like negatively thinking, oh, she's thinking that I am, whatever.
Right. And so you feel disappointed. So like, I'll give some examples because we did a lot of shows on like using our words because it's counteracting the mind reading.
Right.
But so some examples are, you come home from work, you're exhausted, and you're somebody that you love has been home and there's a pile of dirty dishes in the sink, and now you're all mad because they should have just known that you needed that help for them to go do it. So you sit in this disappointment, anger, frustration.
Okay, so you're saying that this is kind of having expectations that others should know what you need,
what you
right?
need, want, or
so
what
they
you feel.
should be able to read your mind, so to speak. That's just a
So to
term,
speak.
right?
Right.
They should be able to just know that you need this done without you verbalizing it, right?
Exactly.
And calling up and saying, hey, honey, I really need you to do those dishes. I'm exhausted. I'm going to bed when I get home.
Exactly.
Or something like that, right?
Or what, and it can go with what I need from somebody. It can go with what I'm feeling, what I'm desiring. Oh, yeah, like Valentine's Day. Let me tell you the disappointment I've heard this week with mind reading. Like they should have known I wanted flowers. Of course I wanted flowers. They make me feel special.
Oh.
But they ended up getting, I don't know, something that, I got those chocolates. I didn't really want chocolate. They know I can't have chocolate. I get migraines from chocolate. So,
oh, my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard this all week.
But you know what? That's a good point. If your partner knows you can't eat chocolate and you buy them chocolate, what is that?
Oh, that's
insensitivity, and it's hurtful.
It really is hurtful.
Because it's like, don't you pay any attention to my migraines? I mean, really.
Right. And so, and it's true, or they're not paying attention to what you want and what you need.
That is hurtful.
It is hurtful because
the whole thing of mind reading is expecting somebody to know what you need and what you're thinking, right? Mm-hmm. In a given situation.
Absolutely. That's what it is.
And so this is a negative thinking trap. Why?
Well, because most people have no idea what you're thinking, what you need, or what you feel until you tell them.
But why don't they? Why are people not as sensitive to others, maybe especially now, right now during COVID, than ever before? Why is there a lack of general sensitivity to other people's needs?
Well, to know exactly what someone else is needing, it's a guessing game, because we all kind of have our own glasses that we filter our world. And what I need for my emotional or mental health may not be something that you need for your emotional or mental health. So like going into like love languages and stuff like that, where like, hearing, nice words or quality time means a lot to me, but for somebody else that may be meaningless. They really want a hug. And so that's why we have to verbalize those things.
Right. So, so people tend to get very negative or angry. And a lot of times because they feel like they did not.
Right. They feel unloved, unvalued, unheard, unthought of. And we have to give people an opportunity to meet the needs the way we need them met, which means we have to communicate that.
Okay. So do you recommend in your counseling sessions that people actually come right out and say, hey, tonight when I get home, it would be great if you already have dinner tonight, pick it up somewhere, do something, because I know that I'm going to have a 13-hour day. So
yeah, exactly. What I would suggest.
Talking it in advance so that it's laid out there. Then if it's not done, then you deal with that then, right?
Well, sure. Now we have a different problem, but we have to let them know exactly what we need and give them time to be able to fulfill that. And just because we tell somebody what we need doesn't mean that they can fulfill that too.
Or that they'll remember.
Sure. That is so true.
Right? Okay. So how serious is this in people?
Well, mind reading to me is probably, it's a top one for relationship conflicts. And I'm not just talking like romantic. I'm talking friendships. I'm talking family relationships. We are expecting our kids or our loved ones to just know we're sad or we're lonely or we had a rough night or whatever. They don't know what they don't know.
Yeah. So how much responsibility is on the person who's doing the expecting?
Well, so the responsibility is on that person who's doing the expecting to communicate. You hold the responsibility to communicate.
But what if the person doing the expecting is not a good communicator?
Well, then we got to start practice and get some communication skills, because until we can effectively communicate, we won't ever get those needs met or be understood.
But isn't this a big problem in a lot of relationships, that there is not the verbal communication? There is the subtle pouting or not speaking or doing something, response in anger, or
the nonverbals like, oh, how are you? Fine. I'm fine. Right. And shutting down and the fine or it's okay. It's not okay. Like, stop covering it up with that and really have the conversation.
So again, how much responsibility does the person who's hurt bear in the lack of reciprocation that they expected?
Well, they hold the responsibility for communicating it. So if they did not communicate it, then that's their responsibility.
Okay.
Which is why, I mean, we're getting ready to write a whole workshop on Communication 101 because it's such an issue.
Yeah, it is. That's an excellent topic for a workshop.
Yes.
Because people expect by just you should just know, you know, that the laundry hasn't been done for days or, you know, whatever.
Absolutely. And then they walk in, you know, I hear it. They walk in the counseling room and, oh, you know, I needed this, this, and this, and he didn't do, or she didn't do any of it. And I'm like, and he's like, what do you mean you needed that? When did you tell me you needed that?
Right.
Well, if you love me, you would just know I needed that.
Right. So this is the major problem with people's communication skills right there that needs to be worked on. Okay, so that's the mind reading, acting like you can tell people what they're thinking and they aren't and all that.
Yes.
Okay, so the next one, next to the last, is minimizing or discounting. What does that mean? That's a negative thinking trap that a lot of people fall into. They minimize things.
Sure. So what we're minimizing is the success.
Oh, okay.
We're minimizing the good. We're minimizing the positive. And we find it kind of goes with we minimize the positive and we maximize the negative.
Okay.
So, you know, like say, for instance, like you did something well and your boss is like, oh, you did a great job or whatever. A minimizer will be, oh, well, you know, it was just good luck or, you know, they won't own that maybe they did do something well, and then they'll fall right into the negative of, oh, well, this person got, you know, a $25 gift card when they got acknowledged and I got nothing. So they look for the negative.
Ah, they look for it. Mm-hmm. They set themselves up for it, right?
Yeah. So we minimize any positives or any successes, and we are like highlighting and.
Okay, so is it that they're minimizing the success, or are they wanting more actual attention than they actually got?
Well, I think I think there's some mixed motivations in with this one, but definitely they totally discount that success. It just kind of it's the sentence that gets the but in it usually.
Yeah.
And we know anything before the but isn't what they're really thinking or feeling.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Give us an example.
Oh gosh, right off the cuff.
Right off.
I know Thursday night I should just have these rolling out of my mind, right? Like so well, like the kid who, you know, got a good grade on his, you know, test grade and but it was because I don't know, something outside gave them that good grade instead of the fact that they'd worked hard to study for it because I'm really dumb and I can't do anything right.
Oh, okay. So then a person who minimizes the success will always bring up their problem.
They'll bring up
that why they're not that good.
Exactly.
I mean, yeah, I got the A, but I really probably shouldn't have. You know, I'm not that smart.
Or I see it a lot too. And like somebody gives somebody a compliment. Oh, like, you know, you really look nice today. Or, you know, that haircut looks good on you. And they'll be like, oh, but like all the wrinkles on my face are, you know, they're going straight for where the negative is.
Yeah, right. That's a common problem with people, don't you? That they can't accept a compliment.
True story.
Does that?
It goes right into this negative thinking trap. Yes.
Yeah. How common is that, and what's the root of not being able to accept a compliment?
Well, when we can't accept a compliment, I mean, I think it roots down to a low self-esteem and self-value.
Right.
When we can't, you know, and one of the things I work on with people is like when you get a compliment, your only answer should be thank you.
Right.
And we practice that a lot in the counseling room because that's very hard for people to do.
Because they will always go, yeah, you mean this old thing, you know?
Oh,
like, but yeah, this is really an old outfit.
Oh, but I gained 6 pounds now.
Oh, yes. Look how, yeah. But that to me, and I may be wrong, so I'm just throwing this out here. I'm not the counselor. But I think that's an invitation for more compliments.
For some people, yes.
You know, like, oh, no, it really does. But, you know, they want somebody to, what my mother used to call, makeover you.
Sure.
Do you know what that is? My mother always used to say that. Quit making over her, you know, or that, whatever. Right?
Okay.
Like building them up.
Okay. No, and I think some people do that for that build up
because they don't want more.
Because they don't have the value within themselves. So they're looking for this external value.
Right. And so we had a show a couple weeks ago with your dad, and we talked about online dating and all those traps and problems there. And I had somebody say something to me today about, that person has totally taken away all my self-esteem. When I ask, are you still dating that person? Or what do you think about that person? No, that person took all my self-esteem with him.
Wow. Well,
comment on that.
What I would say to that
I was shocked by the fact that all the self-esteem is gone, but really? It's all gone? You don't have any anymore? Of course, I do tend to kind of...
Yeah, I know you. Yes, you do.
Make fun of that.
My comment to that is, if you have true self-esteem, another human cannot take
it from you. Right?
Right.
And I mean, it was laughable to me. I said, seriously? They took all your self-esteem? Because to me, that's a pathetic answer. Well, they're feeling sorry for themselves. Yeah. And so the person took all my self-esteem.
Sure.
When they broke up with me.
When we have our own value, somebody else can't take our self-esteem.
Know your value.
They might, that kind of hurt my self-esteem a little bit, but they're not taking my self-esteem because that's inside us. The problem is a lot of people use external measures to find some self-esteem or self-worth. And then, if that person, if your value is only because this person likes you or wants to be your friend or date you, and then they're gone.
Right.
Yeah.
Mika Brzezinski has written a book for women entitled Know Your Value.
Yes.
And I haven't read it, but
I have.
Have you?
Yes, I have.
Is it a good book?
It's a great book.
I figured it was.
It's a great book.
So what does it do in that book? And this came out, a year or two ago? I don't know.
It's been a little bit longer, I think. Because I listened to it on one of my road trips when I was working for corporate. Because I listened to the audiobook of it. But, that's true. When we know our value, she talks about how women get cut short in the workplace and in their personal lives and professional lives, and how, she was making a fraction of what her co-anchor was making on the show, and they did the same amount of work.
Yeah.
And that's true across a lot of boards. Until we know our value, we won't let ourselves be sold short.
Right.
And I use a kind of example a lot in the counseling room. This is a common conversation, but there are certain companies you'll never see a commercial for, right? Bentleys aren't putting commercials on. Teslas aren't putting on. Why? They know what they have and they know the value.
They know their value.
And the people who are seeking them also know what they are and know the value.
Ooh, we're coming back to that point right after the break. Because I think that might be a root at some of this thinking, this negative thinking. We're going to come right back and explore that. If you have a question or comment, get on Facebook, and because you can't call in because of the phones. So just get on Facebook and let us know your comment and your question. We'll be right back.
Tan Talk, entertaining and informative radio for the Sunshine State.
Dr. Angel Falzoni specializes in a variety of therapeutic areas, including trauma, depression, anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder, stress management, self-esteem, interpersonal relationships, ADHD, behavioral addictions, as well as spirituality issues. A Florida native, she holds multiple degrees, including a bachelor's in education and philosophy, a master's of arts in professional counseling and marriage and family therapy, and a PhD in psychology. Dr. Angel is also a Florida licensed mental health counselor. She has worked with youth and adolescents for 14 plus years and has worked extensively in women's mental health for the past 6 years. She has worked in agencies providing mental health services to family and youth at high risk. Dr. Angel is an accomplished psychotherapist who works with children, teens, adults, couples, and families. Dr. Angel has advanced training and experience in working with LGBTQ-specific individuals and issues. Dr. Angel can help you. Just call for an appointment at 727-501-6557 or online at drangelsdevelopment.com. Dr. Angel Falzoni, support for individuals, couples, and families. 727-501-6557.
Prompt professional service is what you will receive when you allow Marcia McAllister of Charles Rittenberg Realty to help find that perfect home or list your home for sale. With over 23 years of experience in the Tampa Bay area, you will enjoy a smooth transaction from start to finish. Call Marcia today at 727-417-0707. Now is a great time to buy or sell a home. Call Marcia McAllister at 727-417-0707.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Yeah, walking on sunshine.
Yeah, I wanted to pick something fun and lighthearted and positive.
That's really good. And Tommy reminded me that during your long commercial, I usually take a nap.
Yes, he sure did.
And so I dozed for a moment. I was reading something on Facebook and then I just dozed off because but you know what? My commercial is so old that it says I've been doing real estate for over 23 years and it's almost 30 now. Next year, it will be 30 years in real estate. Is that crazy?
That is awesome.
I was 10 when I began.
I hear that.
That is a very young age to start real estate. It really is. Usually you cannot get a license, at age 10, Tommy. You really can't.
If you're going to pull these liners, just give me a little heads up. I get the rim shot ready for you.
I never know when they're coming. I just absolutely don't know.
No, she does not. That's a true story.
That's a true story. Yes. So anyway, you do have a very long commercial because compliments of Tommy, but it's because you've done all that.
Yes, we really do a lot in the practice.
And you have like 10 children of your own, right? No, three.
3 boys.
3 boys.
3 men, not boys.
3 men. They really are. Yes. Wow. You're such an overachiever.
A little overachiever, yes.
Yeah.
But no, it is cool. We do so much there, and having the variety that we have really helps give everybody an individual, unique plan of treatment, and they get better.
Oh, you're talking about your practice now.
Yeah, now
I didn't know. I thought you were talking about your boys.
Well, no, I'm talking about the practice. We
there's
do
such
a lot
variety
there,
too. But you do. Oh my gosh, yes. It's a busy place, folks. Now, so if you need mental help, Dr. Angel needs mental help. I'll tell you that. But anyway, I mean, whatever your situation, your organization, it's great. It's growing like leaps and bounds, and it's very busy. So that's where you want to go, Dr. Angel's Development. And you can listen to the show again and listen to her 45-minute commercial anytime. So
I am going to get harassed on this till the end of days.
You are? Really? No,
Yes.
Tommy reminded me it was my nap time, and that's why
I'm going to cut it in half and make 2.
Then we just have to listen to the other one, and so I don't know. Anyway, welcome back to the second half of Go Yard. We are in the part 3 and the last part of Negative Thinking Traps. We're going to start a new series next week. Why?
Because it's time to have a new series. How about that? Because we're finished with this one.
It's because our topic coming up.
Yes, we are. We're going to be tackling, it's a topic we've tackled before, but we're going to tackle it in a new way with fresh perspective. And we're going to talk about codependency because it's something a lot of people are really struggling with.
And a lot of people don't even understand what the term means. I can remember years and years and years ago when I couldn't either.
I get it. A lot of people really don't understand what it means and what it looks like in practice.
I was actually codependent, so I was told you're codependent. And I said, I don't even know what that means. This was a long time ago.
Sure.
I was 3.
Oh, okay. So she was 3 when she was codependent and 10 when she was a realtor.
Right. I was codependent on my mother and my dad. Okay, we're going to get through this.
I think she's had some silly juice today.
No, really, actually, no, I don't. No, Okay, so the last one of these is blaming, but let's start with where we left off before that wonderful song. It's the song that did this to me. It is your fault. Walking on Sunshine. I mean, Tommy, what do you feel when you hear a song like Walking on Sunshine? You got to be happy, right? It's not like Walking in Depression.
Oh, you just want to dance.
You just want to dance,
Exactly.
right? It's not like, I'm so sad. It's not like that. You're just walking on sunshine. Woo!
You know, and music really is so powerful.
That's 3 woos already from you tonight.
Oh my, oh my, oh my. Okay, so go ahead. What's powerful?
Music.
Music, yes. It is. Let's just have a show of music. We don't need to talk.
Well, it really does. It changes our mood
Do you
and
want to
our
play
emotions.
that song again?
Huh?
Do you want to play that song again?
I don't think we could handle what might happen if we played that song again.
Yeah, we may not be able to. We may not be able to. Yeah, because that really made me happy.
You know, here's the funny thing is the audience, they do not get to see this, but both of us walked in here tonight very worn, very tired, very exhausted.
We did. You didn't even speak to me.
I did too.
No, you didn't. You were on the phone.
Oh, we did walk in here very exhausted, and now look like
Tommy said, "What's wrong with Angel?" I said, "I don't know. She's not speaking tonight." It's going to be one of those nights. So if you're afraid that if we play that song again,
Yeah, I
it
couldn't
is your
handle-
fault. All this is your fault
I know. I'll take responsibility because you're blaming.
because I'm codependent since I was 3. So I was potty trained real early, though. So I'll just tell you that.
I'm glad to know that
You're
was
glad to know
the
that.
case.
Okay, so the last one is blaming, but before we get to that, know your value.
Knowing your value.
Why is that so important? And do most people not know their value?
I would say most people do not know their value, and I would say women are more prone to not know their value.
Why are women more prone to that?
I think culture and society and families and norms have taught women that they don't have the value,
Right.
you know, and women's value is, you know, being a mother or being a wife or taking care of a home and
Or that's a man's job. You can't do that.
right, exactly. You know, when women, you know, are leaders, they have negative connotations. Oh, she's bossy or she's, you know, they have curse words that they will, you know, for having a strength that a man can have and everyone
Right.
thinks, oh, wow, he's a great leader. For a woman, it's a bad thing.
Well, used to be that, you know, boys in homes were not required to learn how to clean or do their own laundry. Your sons have been doing their laundry since they were
They were 10 and that's
2
for
years
real.
old, too, right? Anthony says it since he was 2.
Okay, it's 10.
He had to get up on a little stool, get up there and put his little shirts in the laundry.
He has been making fudge since he's been 2. He started learning it too. I have pictures.
I have to talk to him about that. But anyway, so you were good about with your boys, and I have 2 sons too, so I was very good about making sure they learned how to clean at a young age. And both of them ended up living alone for a period of time at different times in their life, college, whatever, right? So they had to learn to clean or it was going to be a disaster zone.
Sure.
So, but back to that, I think a lot of times people assume that somebody else will pick up the slack for them in a relationship. Oh, yeah, that's my wife will do the laundry.
Oh, that's women's work. I hear that.
Yeah. Oh, do you? Do you hear that in counseling?
Oh, we hear that a lot. Yeah, and they
Nobody's
do.
walking in sunshine in those kind
No,
of
they're
conversations.
not, you know,
No.
and even in, you know, in the house, we always tease, you know, there's not a coffee fairy in the house. There's not a dish fairy in the house. Like
Right.
it all takes somebody getting in there and doing it. And
Right.
so, but what happened was women and culture still kept all the domestic duties and the child rearing duties as part of being
Right.
a woman, and now they also have to earn money and work outside the home. So women are really exhausted because a lot of households, the man comes home from work and he takes
Yep.
care of the lawn, but he expects his dinner to be made, the dishes be clean, that, you know, he's not dealing with the kids, bath, homework, any of that. He's watching TV, having the beer in the recliner and relaxing because he worked all day.
Yeah.
While the woman who also worked all day is coming home and cooking the dinner, cleaning the dinner, bath time with the kids, homework with the kids, bedtime with the kids. And we wonder why our women are so exhausted, anxious, and depressed.
I remember some fights with my ex-husband early on in our marriage. And I said, hey, why can't you live here too? Why can't you do this, this, and this? He goes, my job is the garage. There you go.
There you go.
Of course, we're not still married.
And it's not that way in all homes. There are some places that the domestic duties are split and men are learning to help rear their kids and help with, household tasks.
But I guess this last one is blaming, and the fact that so often we get into a negative thinking trap of that's your fault. And so I don't have to adjust my opinion or my attitude or my behavior because it's all on you.
Sure.
Right?
Yep.
Do you hear that much in counseling?
Oh my goodness. I hear blaming all the time. It's something I hear a lot in the counseling room. And, we can't change what we don't take responsibility for or recognize because we can only change ourselves. So if everything's really your fault, then I have no power in that. And so no matter what's going on, we all have a contribution to make to the situation because it takes two to have conflict, right?
Yeah. And
so we got to stop for a minute and start looking in the mirror and taking that responsibility.
How many times do relationships, because this whole thing is kind of more about personal relationships, I think it is, home life. But how many times do people actually sit down with their partner or their husband, their wife, or their kids and say, what can we each do to make everything flow better around here?
Yeah,
to get everything done that needs to get done with everybody with a smile on their face instead of a angry slamming the door type response.
I think we need to have those conversations more.
But is it hard to get people to do that?
I think it takes a hero in the family being willing to stop and gather the people together and start initiating these conversations. Right. Because I think that's a great communication. Like, let's brainstorm, let's problem solve, let's all take a responsibility for what, whatever it is we're working towards and put some into it.
Right.
I call it a democracy house when we do that.
A democracy house.
Sure.
That's nice.
Everyone kind of has a voice and opinion and they're part of the solution and there's buy-in with that. Mm-hmm. With even when my boys were little, I'd set them all down in the living room Saturday mornings and I'd write the list of all the chores that needed done and everyone got to pick which chores they were doing. We went round robin. Like, I got the kids to do chores. They were excited about round robin picking because they had some power and some buy-in. And then we raced to see who could get their list done first. It was a game.
It was a game. So you can make a game out of that.
Absolutely. Yeah. It doesn't have to be miserable things.
But the problem when we blame others for things not getting done is that it sets up tension in the house and it sets up this pointing the finger at.
Sure.
It's your fault because this didn't get done. Or it's your fault because that kid stays in his bedroom all the time.
Oh, absolutely. The blaming is big. I mean, it even goes down to parents blaming the teachers for the kid's bad grade. Oh, it's the teacher's fault. If you were a teacher, my kid would have had a better grade.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this blaming thing is really blowing up.
It is. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, what it is not taking personal responsibility.
It's exactly what it is. And it's a negative thinking trap.
Right.
And it's going to hold us back.
But people that blame a lot, whether it's political, whether it is in the home, whether it's at work, whether it's in your personal relationship, if you're going to have that mindset and that's where you're coming from, just get ready for trouble. Get ready for problems, whether if you cannot see that you play a role in the peace in the family or the peace at work or whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Absolutely.
Because what people want is peace.
Yes, people.
Don't they? Don't they want to get along? Are you saying they don't?
Well, I'm saying not every person is really wanting peace. I think there are some people who really get some satisfaction from stirring up conflict.
If they were walking on sunshine.
If they were. But come on, there's always those conflict stirrers.
Oh, gosh, yes.
Yes.
In every area of our lives, there's always people that like a fight, right?
Oh, sure.
And so when you sense that you're around somebody like that, what do you do?
Well, first of all, you do not have to attend every argument you're invited to.
Oh, I love that.
I know. I use it a lot because it's true.
It is so true.
And it takes two to argue.
Attend every fight you're invited to.
So when I'm around somebody that I know is a conflict stirrer and I have those people in my world, I don't really engage. When I see them starting to get under and stir the conflict, that's when I just disengage from it. I don't feed it. I'm not going to get involved with it. It's going to make me frustrated. It's going to, why? I just stop it before it starts. I don't have to go.
Okay. But for the person out there, the average person listening that is in that thinking trap of constantly looking for somebody else to blame for their problem, what do you say to them?
I really would like to tell them to sit and look in the mirror and take an honest look at what they hold responsibility for in their lives.
And play that song.
Play the song.
Play the song.
Play the song Man in the Mirror. How about that?
Man in the Mirror is a good song.
But it's true.
Yeah, because honestly, it is a tone that is set in a work environment, in a personal relationship, in a home. What part do you have in setting the tone? You have a lot. Everybody does, right?
Absolutely.
Everybody in that home has part of setting the tone.
Sure they do. And we all have to have responsibility for that and accountability for that. And so when we're blaming someone else for all the problems, it's never going to get solved. It's never going to get fixed. And we're putting down people in our world that we love, because when we're blaming someone, we are
accusation.
We're accusing, we're squishing them down. I can't tell you the number of friendships and relationships that end because the other person, I'm tired of being if I'm such a bad person, then don't be around me.
Yeah, don't be around me.
Because they get overwhelmed with it. They can't do anything right. I mean,
I know people who have broken up with people because of that. Like, if I'm that bad, you don't want to be with me. No.
Of course.
Right.
Of course.
Right.
I have, some people that their partner wants some, like, toilet paper roll. That's a big one, right? So
toilet paper war?
Toilet paper roll, putting the toilet paper on the thing, right? That's a big one. And sometimes there's one person who does it better than the other. And so they can, you need to put the toilet paper on when it's empty. So the other person learns to do it. Now you got to put it when it's over, because you can't have the toilet paper starting on the under roll. It has to start just never changes. And they're just getting exhausted.
Nitpicking fights.
Yeah, we're nitpicking that. But they're blaming and they're blaming and they're blaming. That's such a common one that like somebody looked up the patent for toilet paper so they could win this argument.
Oh my.
Did you know that?
No. But I do know that people nitpick each other a lot.
Yes, they do.
And they do it because they're familiar with it. Perhaps they grew up with that. That's the way their home was. Maybe it's because they're trying to assert dominance, control.
Can be. That's that critical negative eye, that nitpicky eye, and that goes into the blaming, because when I'm nitpicking everything you're doing, I'm blaming you, I'm judging you, and I'm telling you it's wrong. I'm crushing you in a way.
So all of these thinking traps are going to mess with your overall happiness in your life. They're gonna mess with your peace. They're going to mess with the joy in your home or your relationship or your job or whatever, because these are habits people get into.
These are habits.
Don't you think?
Yes.
Okay, I want you to start at the top, because some people may have missed any of this series. We've only got 9 minutes left. So I want you just to quickly say what they are, so somebody may want to take notes on them. We have 9 of them that you see in counseling all the time and are very common. Go ahead.
Sure.
Negative thinking traps.
So the negative thinking traps. The first one we covered is called black and white thinking, all or nothing, dichotomous. Things are good, things are bad. There's no middle ground. My way is the only way because it's the right way kind of mentality, and we're not seeing things from any other perspective. So that gets us in a lot of trouble because there's no flexibility. There's no middle ground with that dichotomous thinking. Focusing on the negative filter, which kind of is similar to one we discussed tonight, but that's always looking for things are unfair, like thinking that things should be fair is a negative thinking trap in itself. And that's what that negative filter is always looking for. Things aren't fair, things are bad, things are wrong, things are whatever, but in a negative light. Overgeneralization, that's another one of our traps. And that's where we have one bad or negative interaction with a person or a group of people, and we just generalize that whole person is just a terrible person, or that whole group of people are terrible people because of this one negative interaction. So we just project all kinds of stuff onto people. And that just is such a fuel for the discrimination we see, the prejudice that we see in our culture today in all kinds of areas. Personalization, this is a big one. This is where we personalize. Everything is about you. So, so you pass a friend in the grocery store and they didn't acknowledge you. Well, they must be mad at me.
Right.
We start, everything is about how I impact everybody else in my world. And our feelings are really hurt when we think everyone's behavior is spawned because of us, right? So when we're personalizing things. And what we find out when we actually sit and do these exercises and personalization is that most people find out that less than 5% of their interactions have any personalized part to it, that 95% of what's happening really isn't fueled by them.
Okay.
Catastrophizing, we kind of opened the show with that, but that's looking for the worst case scenario. So we are looking for the ball to drop, so to speak,
all the time,
floor to fall out. And so it's very hard to get motivated to do anything or to try something new when you're always waiting for this really horrible tragedy or bad thing to happen. And then perfectionism, that's setting unrealistic goals for ourselves, expecting ourselves to do everything right, to do everything perfect, to be able to meet goals quickly, lose 40 pounds in 30 days, get a 6-pack of abs in 2 months. A lot of people do these in dieting, but they do it in all kinds of stuff. I hear this all the time. So in fact, when we work on goals, that's one of the biggest things. I have to bring them down with their time frames. I'm like, whoa, you're trying to, this is not realistic. You're
trying
not
to do
make
too
it.
much. Yeah.
Mind reading we talked about tonight. That's expecting people to know and be able to know and tell what you're thinking, what you're feeling, and what you need without you using your words. And so we really got to use our words. We have to communicate. Minimizing is we minimize the successes and we maximize the bad things. And so we really get ourselves stuck in this thing that we're not seeing anything good in our world. Right. And then the blaming, where we just blame everyone else for what's going down.
Wow.
9 of them in 4 minutes.
That was not bad. And these are serious things. So you can listen to the show again on Facebook. You can listen to it on YouTube live. Go to YouTube and then go to Tan Talk Radio /GoYard and you'll find it there.
We had a listener type in a quote I just wanted to share. Excuses only satisfy those who give them.
Oh,
I like that.
That's good. I like that quote.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. And so, the whole goal of this show is to help people have better mental health, but better ability to interact with others, have more success in their lives. We kind of call it a life coaching show because we're trying to coach people to become their better selves. Right?
Absolutely. That's what it's about.
Yeah. And so it's something that we have to all work on all the time, though. Doesn't just happen overnight.
It's not happening magically. You have to be purposeful. You have to be intentional.
Yes.
Because when we take that guard down, we will naturally fall into these thinking traps.
Right. Absolutely. So we always welcome your suggestions for series on shows. You can just send it to us at GoYard2014@gmail.com, or can always put it on the Facebook thing when you respond to the Facebook show. Just say, here's an idea. Why don't you do a show on this?
That would be wonderful.
We'd like to have those. From time to time, well, now with COVID right now, not so much, but you are in particular out in the public doing events, yes. And you will be doing some soon.
I will be doing one next Friday at the Board of Realtors.
Yes. Tampa, in
Clearwater. Yeah, in Clearwater at the Board of Realtors. So if anybody wants to come on by and see us.
That's cool. That's great. Okay. Yeah. So, and these things are just good to get out there and get people to get to know you and all that. So anyway, anything else you want to add tonight?
Wow, I think we've had an amazing series. I think this has
been good.
Super important.
And I have a very intense question for you.
Okay.
As a result of this show tonight, are you walking on sunshine?
I am walking. I am dancing on sunshine.
You're dancing on sunshine?
Sure, why not?
Wow. Well, that's a life changer right there.
There you go.
So see, no matter what happens the rest of the evening, tomorrow, you're already walking on sunshine. So all good, right? So
all good. You know what? We're joking and teasing, but it's really a powerful tool to have. I call it my, power jam. I have all those songs that spawn those positive emotions.
Absolutely, yes.
It really makes a difference.
Absolutely does. And so we have a Sunday afternoon show every week. This April, we're going to be celebrating our 14th anniversary right here on this station on our Sunday afternoon show. You're a part of that from time to time. And that's 2 hours where we talk about spiritual principles and really just bring the Bible into our reality, right?
Mm-hmm.
And